The Rings of Akhaten, or Akhaten. In this episode, we see something very unusual, which is a giant parasite sun that feeds off consciousness and memories. And so that got me thinking, could something like this really exist? First, The Rings of Akhaten, which is one of my favorite episodes in all of Doctor Who, up there with the likes of Blink, Heaven Sent, and many more David Tennant episodes, because he's the best. We gotta first talk about what is consciousness. Well, consciousness is us. Everything we think we are is based on our own personal identity. Experiences, tastes, and dislikes, everything we know about ourselves is based on consciousness. What is consciousness? Another word for that is perception, or even better, thought. Thoughts are just about 100 billion nerve cells, called neurons, interacting with each other through synapses at 200 miles per hour. If we think about it a little further, we just see these messages as just electricity, like an email. Well, not like an email, but if it helps, sure, email. For example, if you are listening to me speak right now, sound vibrations hit your eardrum, and those trigger a response from hair cells. That electrical signal propagates like a wave along the threads of axons that are part of the connections between neurons. When the signal reaches the end of the axon, it causes the release of chemical neurotransmitters into the synapse, a chemical junction between the axon tip and the target neurons. The target neuron responds with its own electrical signal, which in turn spreads to other neurons. Within a few hundred milliseconds, the signal has spread to billions of neurons in several dozens of interconnected areas of your brain, and have perceived these sounds, well, as sounds. So in other words, what is your body if not just a giant energy-making machine? Now let's get into this whole grandfather or parasite. We'll just call him the grandfather parasite. You're going to be asking me, but living things can't feed off pure electricity alone. Actually wrong. In fact, there are these living bacteria that feed on pure electricity, aptly named electric bacteria. Electric bacteria are forms of bacteria that directly consume and excrete electrons at different energy potentials without requiring the metabolization of any sugars or other nutrients. So this scene where grandfather parasite starts eating the memories of the Doctor could in fact just be a parasite eating his memories by shitting all over him. Because bacteria can pretty much feed on anything, there aren't considered parasites, because a parasite has to feed on a living thing at the cost of the host. So, because the grandfather bacteria in the Rings of Akhaten has a conscience and chooses to feed on living things, therefore it is considered a parasite. Theoretically, if this bacteria could get to the size of a star, and based on our own sun alone, the sun weighs about 1.989 to the 10 to the 30th kilograms, which is around 1,989 with 27 zeros at the end of it. It would have to take trillions of electrons per nanosecond for billions of years without killing itself to even get to that size. It's like eating lunch an hour after breakfast. You fill up too fast and you feel as if your stomach will explode, because it actually will. Well, not actually, more like it'll expand to the point where it tears. Could this parasite bacteria be real? No, unless it takes the long way around, like a skinny person becoming a fat person. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes years and years. Trust me, I know. But because all things have a lifespan, the bacteria would die before it could even grow to that size. So no. But could it grow to the size of your hand with millions or billions of years of evolution? Possibly. It is a star, and that requires nuclear fusion, which needs billions and billions of pounds of gas compressed and getting more dense to the point where it gets so hot it starts to burn, which would kill any living thing. So we're back to no. But saying if it could feed off our memories and conscience and thoughts alone, yeah, sure, why not? But for it to not be a bacteria, just a parasite, it would have to feed off the memories before the electrons reach to the point of your brain where it even perceives them. The Rings of Akhaten is totally plausible for me.